Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I blow soon, soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my room, room. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Fuel broadcast. We have some big League of Legends action today. CLOL, we have Fuel Esports taking on UALBANY.
I'm excited for this match. I really am. Compared to what happened last week with that very strong comeback from our team against, was it?
Brooklyn College,
It was
I
Brooklyn.
believe.
Right. I'm Dragon. This is Newt.
Yeah.
And we're in for a strong fight. We're in for a very strong fight. It's week 2. Our team came from last week with a very strong comeback against Brooklyn. And overall, I am very excited to see what Albany brings to the table.
Yeah, well, first we'll have to see what type of roster we're going to be fielding. I think we're going to be looking about the same roster that Fuel is kind of sticking to. You know, you got your HK in your top lane. You got Ollie in the jungle, the newest face. You got Boo, the captain in the mid lane, and then Zan and Marshall rounding out the bot lane.
And overall, the brutality that these players can pull off, like HTK, depending on the champion they pick, they level up a bit. They can go solo and just shred the whole team if you leave them unattended. Then you have Zan and Marshall that are really good at coordinating attacks, especially in support and ADC. Omega Boo is able to hold that mid lane and reverse the top lane when is needed. And then you have Ollie, who in the jungle, especially the fight against Brooklyn last week, absolute decimating once they got certain items and certain power-ups.
Yeah, indeed, and we'll have to see how UAlbany can match up, because I believe if we take a look at the standings, we'll see both teams 2-0 up right now, so this is definitely a battle for top spot after this game, very likely, and some other team might be falling to the middle of the pack.
Yeah, both teams know what's at stake here to try and get a lead on GW Revolutionaries, but currently, like I said, it's going to come down to what Albany brings to the table, because compared to how last game went, I know I sound like a broken record going back to last week's match, it was the first of the week, so it was the first chance that our team got into combat. Brooklyn absolutely shredded them in game 1, and then it was a gradual comeback in game 2, and then in game 3, they held their own and pushed back in an extreme amazing comeback. Can they hold that momentum and use what they learned in that fight against Brooklyn to go up against Albany? But we don't know how Albany plays. What will Albany bring to the table that will be either a threat or a counter to what Fuel does? Yeah,
we'll have to see. You know, the meta's probably still going to be staying quite similar. I think a patch may have actually just hit, so it might be a little bit of a shake-up there, but Fuel's probably still going to stick to the things that they felt comfortable with, you know, those bit more unorthodox mid laners, the top lane carry champions, you know, that's the same style that they've been sticking with, but we'll have to see as we while we wait for the rest of the players to get into the game and into the draft. We're going to cut to a quick break. We are back straight into draft. Fuel on the blue side, Albany on the red side. And we'll be seeing the Gragas ban from Fuel, likely a top and a jungle flex. Ooh, looks like Fuel's going to be taking all of those safe top laners, those neutralizers, as the Gragas, as the Cassante out of the pool, whereas Albany, banning a bit more meta. You know, you see Zan's match history, you're going to see a lot of that Caitlyn, so they're going to take that out of the pool. You see Ollie, you see Wukong, but also Wukong's one of the strongest picks right now, so going to be taking that as well. See Fuel maybe going to if they're going to continue down this bullying the top laners pool route, or if they're maybe going to throw a ban towards the jungle or towards the mid or towards the bot lane.
Well, depending on this next pick, it might determine how Albany goes to counter. Ooh, the Corki.
Yeah, Fuel had a lot of problems with that Corki
they did.
last week. You know, you had just a lot of once Zan's like 3 characters were banned out, he just didn't really have a good answer into the Corki, and the Corki just has so much value as a flex pick as well. So probably a pretty good idea to take it out, especially considering they don't play it themselves. But Ezreal is still open. That's one of Zan's best picks. You have a couple of Ollie's junglers. You can go for the Skarner again. You have some of these mid laners. You know, still a lot open. But yeah, the MFs can be taken off. You know, they're going to be pinching. Oh, Ezreal actually. So Fuel might maybe opt instead to not pick AD carry right away because the MF isn't as great of a blind pick, and maybe more look towards a jungle pick here. We'll have to see.
Well, I mean, Zan also can play Misfortune fairly well from what I've been told. So
That's why,
the swap from Ezreal to Misfortune might be a gamble that might work for Albany, but it also could be this different side of the same coin and absolutely be a really bad call.
Yeah, so Fuel actually just going to lock in that AD carry that they're confident on. You know, Zan has about a roster about 5 characters right now that he's pretty confident on, and with the Ezreal and Caitlyn, who are 2 most prio pick off the table, kind of follow that MF, and they're like, we don't want Albany to take it away. We don't want to give too much angle, but this opens up a Braum angle for Albany as a good counter pick into the MF.
Oh, that is very true.
A lot of bot laners can match the MF. This kind of funnels Fuel into a specific comp where they have to protect the Misfortune, and you're gonna see the Ziggs. That's a bit less of a more traditional couple. It's kind of fallen out of favor recently, but it's still an extremely strong pick. Has that ability to push side lanes and turrets extremely fast. Has really clear, like safe wave clear. Able to play a lane 1 versus 2 quite easily. So, but that's likely going to be going to the bot lane.
So my question now, because I'm very curious, do you believe that Jaren is going to be picked? I was wondering if Braum was going to be picked.
So I think Albany deciding that
Jarvan.
Maybe they can hold the Braum to 3, or maybe thinking that actually it's not as important of a counter pick. The whole idea behind the Braum into MF is that A, the shield counters her ultimate, and B, you can ult her ultimate to cancel it because it's a ranged ultimate. So you have a couple things on the table. You see, look maybe for a Vi, you know. You see Vi not as, never mind, just me throwing to the Xin, you know. Okay, never mind. Ollie just deciding to play musical chairs with his character, not letting me talk about anything.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks, Ollie. We have the Sejuani locked in, a bit more safe. You're going to see the Renekton as well.
Ooh.
So Sejuani really likes to play with those melee characters because her passive procs on melee autos, your allies' melee autos, and the Renekton is a flex. It's one of Boo's best characters, and it's one of HK's best characters. Opens up the draft for a lot of positions, and now you can maybe get a counter pick for like Marshall, and you can get Boo or HK into a favorable matchup depending on what they pick into this Renekton.
I'm still wondering what Albany's counters are going to be because right now you have a very strong range dominance with the Misfortune. Renekton, Aatrox?
Aatrox is an interesting pick. You know, I think it's fairly okay into the Renekton in the lane, and it can do a lot of work into Sejuani because they're going to be beefy frontline characters kind of walking at you, and that's kind of what Aatrox wants. But dropping the support pick, I'm expecting Fuel to probably ban the Braum here because I think Braum is really good this game, especially with Sejuani and like honestly, just the whole comp that Fuel is playing is not really favored into the Braum. But seeing the Enchanter bans here for Albany, you see the Karma ban already, probably going to be maybe a Lulu ban or. Probably not a Lulu, actually. Give Misfortune.
I think it would be very strategic if Fuel takes the opportunity to ban Braum here.
I think
it would be very strategic.
I think Braum ban is probably going to happen. I think
we're going to find out in 10 seconds.
Fuel's probably also going to look to take some of these mid laners off the table because they do know that they are aware that the Aatrox is already picked for top lane. Dig's likely to go bot lane, but the Lulu taken off the table, taking off these safe Enchanter AD supports. Maybe expecting the Ziggs to be going mid lane. It's still a flex. So maybe they're opening up an opportunity for like a on-hit AD carry into an Enchanter pick. Albany, I expect more just pinching of these support pools just to be coming out from both sides here. Probably see Albany take off another one of these range characters, maybe the Zillion, which is something that, but actually no, the Maokai can be taken off, a very strong pick right now. Another flex pick, can be played in about 3 different roles right now, but probably just targeted towards that support, judging by the play styles of the Fuel roster.
And then in regards to this, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the battle plan is going to be for both these teams, because I'm trying to think, is Fuel going for like close quarters filter and then let your ranges kind of have at them? And then Albany is trying to go for suppression counter, and Fuel did not ban Braum.
No, Braum's still open. Maybe not really thinking the Braum's that big of an issue. I mean, some of your characters are okay into it, and I think the MF counter is a bit overstated, but I think, and it's not as great with Ziggs. Ziggs Braum isn't the lane you really want to be playing. You kind of want to play Ziggs with a roaming character, like a Nautilus, like this Leona. That's why they banned the Rakan. And the Galio, I was actually thinking about the Galio. Galio Jarvan is a really common combo because Jarvan throws out that cage, his ultimate, sticks people in there, and then Galio ult on top of Jarvan can knock them all up, as well as the Ziggs ult on top of that. So that's a bit of a wombo combo for Albany right here. The Galio could be mid lane, could also be support. I actually think support looks better here.
For Galio?
Yeah, I think the support Galio might be better here because mid lane is not great into the picks of Fuel. And the Smolder, ooh, this is a throwback. Boo played this a lot last semester, but hasn't played it much this season so far, as the character's kind of fallen out a bit of favor, but extremely strong scaling threat. Good laner, can kind of survive lane on his own. And the Elise, that's going to be the support for Marshall. Probably his most played this season so far, I think. Really,
so Fuel's cooking something here.
They're doing something for sure, A bit of an interesting comp, not really the most cohesive. You have a scaling threat with the Smolder, but you have an early dive threat with the Elise and like the Renekton. Sejuani kind of scales, Misfortune, and then the Syndra here going to be taken off or taken for Albany. So it's going to be quite a bit of magic damage on the side of Albany, but it is going to be that Galio support, following up with that Wombo combo. And this is all really, Albany's comp really relies on getting these picks, getting that Jarvan ult, getting that Syndra stun with the Scatter of the Week, getting that Galio ult on top of it, getting that Ziggs ult, all these combos really are going to play into it. And we'll have to see how they can play early game, because their comp's a little bit harder to play early game, especially with the Fuel having that Renekton, Elise, and Sejuani, and MF even, all 4 of these characters able to really wreak havoc in this early game.
So overall, how I'm thinking how both teams are going to have a chance of winning, or at least get advantage in the early game. Fuel is going to be rushing, absolutely blitzkrieging the first couple, 5 to 10 minutes. What Albany needs to do is hold out long enough to play the long game, structure up, build up, get those combos, get those picks, and then just start wailing on them.
Yeah, kind of. Albany really peaks at their level 6 spike, right? They have 3 or 4 ultimates that they kind of want to partner together. Fuel, as Albany, you don't want this game going too late, because Smolder can really outscale the whole team and can do a lot of work with that beefy frontline of the Sejuani and that Renekton.
And he can call on his mom.
Yeah. True, yeah, and it's all going to be about how Albany can survive the early lanes of this Elise. This character is really strong in the dives, because when you turn into a spider form, you use your repel, you completely negate the turret damage. It completely resets turret aggro. So we'll have to see. And with the melee character of the Elise, of the Renekton, of the Sejuani, a lot of easy playing early game, but the Jarvan can do just as much work.
So if Jarvan can hold their own, they might be able to do something to counter Fuel's attacks.
Yeah, I think.
Will that play into the range support that Fuel has as well?
Yeah. So Fuel's probably going to get a little bit of a lane prio just because of their strengths, but Fuel. Albany still has a lot of avenues that they can play through. Both teams playing a bit interesting comps. You have a bit of split style on Fuel, and you have a more of a cohesive engage comp for the side of Albany, but we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, we will. And overall, with that, we do need a moment as the teams do get in. We'll be right back after a short break.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I bust soon. Know as a child back in the womb. Oh,
that you left and told me that you hate me. But then man, I seen you kissing at that place we always drinking. Is the reason that I'm singing. One more shot is what I'm missing. I know I will risk it all, 'cause you're my fireball. You won't have to crawl when you gon' fly away with me. The way you lift me up, just can't get enough. Pull me out the dust, then you take me higher. This that love that don't expire, no. I got that undivided love, my fireball. Don't need no drinks when I can vibe with you. Don't need no green when I can fly with you. These lights are falling down on us right now. Yeah, and you're still shining bright. Don't need no drinks when I can vibe with you. Don't need no green when I can fly with you. These lights are falling down on us right now. And you're still shining bright. I would risk it all, 'cause you're my fireball. You won't have to cry when you can fly away with me. The way you lift me up, I just can't get enough. Pull me out the dust, then you take me higher. This that love that don't expire, no. I got that undivided love, divided love. 'Cause I will risk it all, oh, 'cause you're my fireball. You won't need to crawl when you can fly away with me. Don't need no drinks when I can vibe with you. Don't need no green when I can fly with you.
And here we are with Game 1, Fuel Esports versus Albany. And already, Fuel is really being concentrated right now. All just sticking together, hiding in the bush, going for what looks like a mid lane ambush of some kind. Or are they going to blitz into the enemy jungle?
Both teams looking
Whoa,
to be...
wait, what's going on here?
Might be a 5v5 level 1. HTK going to be face checking this, though. Probably just going to get instantly one-shot. Beautiful taunt by the Galio. Marshall's just going to be running for the hills as the rest of Fuel. And that's going to be quick first blood going over to Albany, you know. HK not really expecting someone to be in that bush, going in on his own. Fuel decided to do a little bit of a pincer maneuver, split up, but they went a little too quick. And that's going to cost them the first blood, though first blood not doing that much nowadays, but still kill credit to all 5 players of Albany. And that's already a 400 gold lead for them as the game starts. And I mean, it's going to be a pretty good spot, especially for the Ziggs who just got a first item.
Yeah, and already a first blood so early in for Albany is crazy. And is Ollie just waiting for a beast just to show up? Oh, and that's just KFC.
No, Ollie's going to be taking the Raptors here. Really good play with Marshall still up here. Fuel's actually going for a lane swap, as you notice. You see the Misfortune in the top lane. Marshall's going to be bullying Jarvan off of his red buff here. Shouldn't be able to kill it, actually. Looking at the red buff, we're seeing Jarvan flashing out 1 HP. Marshall's still poking him down, getting chunked. Flash, auto, great kill by Marshall. And this is going to be a great setup for Ollie. Though you see the Galio here, though he's not going to be able to do much against the level 2 of that Sejuani. Going to be able to pressure him back. And that's going to be Ollie getting the first 3 camps of Albany, of the Jarvan. And going to be a great lead for him. Jarvan's going to have to go straight bot lane. This is going to be a split map. And this might be a level 2 dive onto this Aatrox. As you see, you need your Elise to get some levels, though. You need that Cocoon, you need that Repel. But you see Ollie's going to be playing towards this. It's going to be, after this wave's pushed in, we're going to be seeing a dive onto the Aatrox, but Galio's running up here as quickly as he can to try to stop this. You see Sejuani just going to be clearing out a ward. Yeah, and this is going to be fully advantage to Fuel. Ollie might be getting picked off a little bit, but has level 3. Shouldn't have to be too scared of much. With that Aftershock, giving those bonus resistances, be able to stun up this Aatrox. Nope, he's going to flash away. This will be a great lead for Fuel. As you see, Jarvan's taking the bot side of Fuel and of Ollie, so it's going to be a complete split map, full vertical jungle here. Marshall walking in a bit too aggressive, going to have to use that Repel to get out. Not going to be able to play too aggressive here. And it's going to be a top lane support versus the bot lane in the top lane, whereas you see Ziggs solo laning the Renekton. Renekton's going to have to base, already having to blow his flash off screen, actually. 1 HP, you know, not the easiest lane into the range champion of that Ziggs.
And overall, just the brief skirmishes are going deeply into Albany's favor. Not necessarily in regards to the top lane. It seems Fuel's got the top lane locked down, but here we have a bit of a stalemate. Top lane is looking fairly stalemated, but in more Fuel's hands than none. And then overall in the bot lane, it looks like HGK is just vibing on their own with that Renekton and is just holding it on their own, because it does not look like any champion from Albany is pushing for any ground until now.
Yeah, but the biggest thing here is that if you notice the Sejuani, she got all of the topside camps of Jarvan. Going to be playing for the Raptor respawn here as well. Got their topside camps. And also will be able to get their bot side camps minus the red buff. Jarvan's only at 12 CS versus the 24. So he's going to be able to take this freely. TP coming in from Aatrox, though. Had to back off after losing quite a bit of health. No TP, no flash. And that's going to be a first blood. Or not first blood. A kill over to Marshall, though. The Ignite just barely not ticking down his health, you know. I think Galio may have pushed up a little too far. And now Ollie's going to be maybe playing towards this dive, but deciding, nope, Marshall's a little too low. Zan's in a fine position. I mean, Zan is already, this lane swap's going completely to the side of Fuel. Ollie is completely ahead. Zan's super ahead. Marshall has those 2 kills. I mean, Fuel's in a great spot right now.
And overall, what Zan needs to do currently at as a low-level Misfortune, gotta watch that mana. Because Misfortune can drain mana like it's no tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he's doing fine. You know, he is low on mana here, but yeah, Ollie's going to be coming right top, and I mean, that's just going to happen when Ollie is playing towards this top side of the map. You need to be safer on the side of UALBANY. Sure, you have 2 players here. You have that Galio, you have that Aatrox. But you notice Galio died, and he, on his way back, Aatrox pushed up a little too far. Ollie's able to punish that, and now Galio's alone again. Ollie's going to be playing for the Krugs of Albany. And I mean, this Jarvan's having one of the worst times of his life. You know, he's getting pressured out of his jungle by the Smolder, by the Elise. Marshall just wandering around, doing whatever he wants, and Ollie just keeps taking these camps, and they're probably going to be playing on another topside play here. You see Marshall throwing out the cocoon onto the Galio, getting a super big chunk there. Ollie dashing over the wall with that charge, and then that's just going to be another kill over to Fuel. This early game is a complete disaster for UALBANY, not able to circumvent the power of this lane swap that Fuel put out with this Elise and the Sejuani just able to take over the map.
Yeah, no, also in the mid lane, it does look like Albany is pushing, and we have a Dragon that spawned and Grubs have spawned. So now there are two objectives in play that both teams can go for. It's a matter of who has the opportunity in the window to take them.
Yeah, Fuel's going to be looking towards Grubs, but as we just saw, we saw Boo get ganked by the Jarvan. It's going to fall to that flash ult from the Syndra. No flash on either him or the Syndra here, but these first grabs should just be going the way of Fuel. See Boo TPing back in to just cover that lane. Jarvan but Renekton is going to be stopping. Jarvan wants to look for this Drake here, but actually you see Renekton might be fighting him a little bit on this Drake here, but he's getting pincered by 3 people. But he's a level 6 Renekton. No, he does not care. He's just going to kill everyone.
Yeah, no,
here.
he doesn't care at all.
Fully zones people off the Mom, not quite hitting the target, and that's going to be again, Fuel stopping Jarvan from being able to play the game at all. He tries to go for a play onto the Drake, but HK is there immediately to match, and Zan's going to get another kill onto Aatrox, and this is going to be a double kill onto Galio, because now at this point, Zan and Marshall are so far ahead, Galio cannot play the game. He's building a cloth armor, so Marshall's just going to keep shredding through his health bar. Ollie, again, taking the respawn camps of Jarvan. Jarvan's still down 20 CS. He cannot play this game.
And overall, the player is good. It's just a matter of Fuel is not giving that Jarvan a chance to do anything. Complete isolation, complete shutdown, and for Albany, like as you stated, that's really bad.
Yeah, and this all stems off the fact that, you know, level 1, they decided to go for... Sure, the first invade didn't go well, but they said, we're not deterred. We're going to play for these Raptors. Marshall bullying the Jarvan off of the camp because leashing is a thing of the past. So you're going to be alone. And Jarvan's not going to be able to beat the Elise level 1 with that electrocute. So it should be a quick... It's going to be a really good early game for Fuel. You already see a 3k gold lead and climbing. And, I mean, the bot lane of Fuel, this lane swap is completely paying what they need, doing exactly what they're wanting from it. And it's not like HDK is that far behind. He's still 47 CS up. He's still winning the side lane. And he's able to get that pressure onto the side. You see him dashing forward, the slice and dice, but he might be a little bit overextended. The ultimate of Jarvan, the Cataclysm, might be able to pick him off here. I think HK is probably just going to flash out. The EQ, though, not going to hit from Jarvan, and that's going to be HK just walking out with that flash, but no Jarvan ult now, so you're not going to have that combo from UALBANY, and this Drake, she's going to keep on standing here, but it's not really like Fuel. You're really caring about this Drake at the moment. HK is just going to go back in, has that ultimate, the Dominus, and this means because he has that ultimate, Jarvan can't go in and kill him because he's just going to win that 1v2. So he's able to pop that. He doesn't quite get what he wants, but he does get the flash of Ziggs burned. He's still going to be hunting. He wants to cancel his
oh my gosh,
recall. And he's going to get that kill with the slice and dice. And on the other side, again, Fuel is getting a double kill on this top lane. I mean, Albany has to change something up. They need to throw Ziggs in this lane with Aatrox. Why on earth are they keeping Aatrox and Galio together when they just keep dying on repeat?
I mean, there needs to be something in the communication, either communications blackout or something's just not being said between. But Albany did just get the red Drake.
Yeah, able to get that ocean Drake there. Pretty big win for the side of Albany. You know, getting a little bit back, but it's looking really rough, and it's all at the back of just the fact that they keep trying to throw this Aatrox in, but you're going to see Ollie fighting Jarvan, but on the other side, Zan getting picked off by the Galio and the Syndra stun. That's going to be a kill. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Ollie is 4-0 up. Galio is very low, but the Syndra is extremely strong at this point with 2-0. Pretty much the only hope of their team at the moment. HK is just going to win the side lane now with that 2-level lead, as he's been solo laning this whole time while Aatrox has been sharing EXP, and he hasn't died nearly as much.
And now overall, Ollie, once again, it's just in the friendly jungle getting that blue buff, which will be a really good benefit alongside the Giant Frog.
Yeah, and they're going to be playing for these grubs again. Should be spawning in about a minute for Fuel. But you see Zan's back up. You know, he did have to burn his flash and his barriers. So there is a bit of a target for UALBANY to be going in with that Jarvan ult with that. But you're seeing HK just going to be doing some quick trading. I don't think much is going to come from this. Maybe a flash burn from Aatrox if need. But nope, just going to be HK pressuring him off. And now Aatrox is kind of just forced out. But you do see... You've noticed Jarvan's kind of had to hover on the side, but that means that Fuel's just going to get the grubs for free again. Because, again, their bot lane is just so strong at this point. You already see a Misfortune with a BT completed. I think it's like a 3,400 item. That's an extremely expensive item to have first item already. But HK going to get Craig with an EQ flash. Going to be able to proc on HK, but the slice and dice, the healing from Triumph. Ooh, I think it's about maybe 1 second on the Q there. If he had that Q, if he had the Call the Meek, he might have actually been able to live, but he's not going to be able to, and that's going to be a kill on the side of Albany. Sure, it's a 1-for-1, but you're kind of taking anything you can get at this point.
Honestly, for Albany right now, yeah, you got to take what you can get. Beggars can't be choosers. However, for Fuel at the same time, it's still a member off the board for them to do some more damage. Like currently you can see in the top lane, you have Ollie in the flank, and you got two being focused on. They're just raiding the enemy jungle with minimal opposition. That turret's about to go down. The Jarvan's showing up.
Who's just TPing in dry. They're wanting to get this first turret. They're like, we're going to do everything for this turret. They realize how much stronger they are at this very moment. Ollie opting for a bit more supportive build despite his lead. Still going to go for that locket, you know. Still has more value, especially with the amount of AoE damage, about a burst damage that UALBANY has. But the Ziggs using that ultimate, going to be able to deter the wave, push the wave out, and stop Fuel from being able to dive them on that play. Ollie's going to have to dash out as Galio might be in a little bit of poke. He's not as tanky as you expect from a 4-0 Sejuani at this point with his item, but the turret's extremely low. The MF ult on top of the Glacial Prison going to be shredding through the health bar of Galio, but Galio going to be able to barely live that by the skin of his teeth. But this should just be the turret falling for Albany. Fuel's going to be able to take this turret, and they probably can make a play happen as soon as this turret falls. You see Jarvan dashing in, a little bit of a weird play. Just not going to be able to put double. I'm not exactly sure what Albany's doing here. Sure, you get the pick by Syndra, but 4 of you are going to die here. You're going to be able to, Sejuani's going to be able to get this kill. Not sure where that ultimate was going for, Boo, but Syndra's still going to fall here. Going to get that shutdown. Oh, the shutdown onto Smolder's just the icing on the cake. He's now getting into this game, the one character who hasn't been accelerated extremely hard by this early game of Fuel. But now he's going to be getting a little bit of... he's not going to be in a lead because the Syndra is still 3-1, but definitely going to be able to match a bit better. And with the scaling of this Smolder, getting any early gold is going to be a big win. But again, I mean, Jarvan just going in a little bit too aggressive, going for a pick onto the Misfortune, realizing he has no flash up, but his team's not there to follow right away. He doesn't hit that first flag and drag, and that's not good. It's just going to spell disaster for him. And Syndra just wasn't quite there yet. HKM flashing in. Call the Meek. Slice and dice. Should be able to kill this. Ooh, just barely not able to kill this Aatrox. Marshall just being a little too late. Not able to match this. I think HK maybe could have waited maybe like 4 seconds longer and probably could have got a double kill with Marshall. But Zan is just randomly in the middle of mid lane getting chunked down. But Ollie's here to protect him. He's able to kite back. Zan not able to die. Walks out of that Ziggs ult. Not exactly sure how that one hit, but Ollie's going to kill off Galio. Galio's going to have his 6th death of the game, and he's going to be going for a Sunfire. Going for a bit more of a damage build. You know, he's really far behind. I'm not entirely sure about this build. The Sunfire and the Blood Song when you're 0-6, not what I would go for.
And now Marshall, uncontested, currently going for that bottom tower. Ollie going for the red buff. Zan back and alive, running up the mid lane. And, at the top lane, you can see there's complete zero opposition in the top lane currently.
Well, yeah, Drake's up. You know, all focusing on Drake, especially considering Herald won't be spawning for about another minute or so. So with that, all eyes are going to be on this Drake. You know, Albany already has one. That is their win con right now, is stacking these Drakes, as that is the only place they've been able to get much of anything. But with Fuel on these item breakpoints, it's going to be a really hard fight for Albany. Ollie, though, hasn't recalled in a long time. Seeing about 3k gold right there. But just going to get that Glacial Prison right onto that Aatrox. The Jarvan's going to fall quickly. Oh, the Flag and Drag be able to live with that Galio taunt. Actually, quite a good escape. But don't let Marshall's role, the fact that he's a support, fool you. This is he is an extremely fed, at least right now. He has 1 item, 2 because of this Blood Song. He will shred through any of the health bars of UALBANY, especially these squishy targets. And with 2 people falling over and Ollie hitting 7-0-4, the second Drake's going to go towards Fuel, the Hextech Drake, I believe. And
see,
the Goldies just going to keep climbing.
It's just insane. And also, like, Ollie doesn't recall. He makes you recall.
No, he should recall. He's sitting on 4K gold. He's going to be recalling here. He's
There
going to be
we
able to
go.
full buy an item and his tier 2 boots likely. This is going to be a completely different character coming onto the Rift here. 2 item Sejuani at 16 minutes. Not what you want to see if you are UALBANY, but you're going to be able to burn the flash of Misfortune, of Zan there, with the Jarvan EQ ultimate, the classic combo, but this MF is just so strong. Never mind what is this Syndra character. Able to hit the Scout of the Week with the stun, hits another Q, and the ultimate with the Electrocute, with those Electrocute buffs, just able to shred through the health bar of Zan. Has no barrier, has no flash. As soon as he gets by stun, he is still a squishy 80 carry at the end of the day. But despite this, Fuel should be able to take this mid-tier 1. Oh, Marshall might be pushing up a little too aggressively, though, with that repel, able to live. Good Scout of the Week from the Syndra, but not going to be able to get anything. Just going to deter Fuel from going much further. And Craig just be going back towards some of his camps. You know, he's still down 30 CS, but he's not in the worst situation.
Yeah, not really in the worst situation. HTK and Aatrox just trying to maintain some sort of like long distance attacking, even though they're both melee characters. Something's going on there, but already you have all Fuel going in. A channel goes in, the Misfortune all goes out. Just slightly chips away some of the attack. HTK does manage to, and Misfortune holding their own. Marshall gets the avenge though, saving Misfortune a little bit, and then you have Ollie on the attack, shredding those minions. And are they going to hunt down these 2 champions? HTK says, "Yes, I am."
Yeah, and I mean,
they ran away.
There's really, at this point, it's really hard for Albany to be even able to play with a 7K gold lead. I mean, your champions just don't do well. Your comp doesn't do well when you're that far behind. The only character that is at all in this game at the moment is the Syndra, and even then, she can't 1v5.
That is true. And remind me again, you were saying that Albany needed to rely on a Wombo combo of who?
It's so hard at this point because you're just not having you don't have the tankiness of Jarvan. Jarvan just folding like paper, just instantly shredded by the damage of that Smolder, of that MF, of the Sejuani even. And this is Fuel going to be trying to hit this tier 2 turret of Albany though. With this Ziggs, it's not going to be as doable. They should be able to clear the wave, especially on top of that Syndra. But you see those 6 grubs really doing work, you know, already pretty much a dead turret here for Albany. Feels to be going back in. And Ollie, on a side note, deciding to go for the Winter's approach with 0 tier stack, so he won't be having the Fimble Winter he probably won't be having it until the game ends, to be honest. A bit of an interesting build. I feel like he could have used his gold lead especially a bit better, but clearly, you know what? I don't think it matters too much when you're 7-0 up and you're playing this well as Fuel.
And completely mirroring from last week, because game 1 against Brooklyn, Fuel was on the back foot extremely. Yeah, and now they definitely took notes. Yeah, Fuel took notes.
Yeah, there's a 10K gold lead right now at 19 minutes. If this were a solo queue game, I believe 15 FF votes would be thrown up right now. But
definitely.
As we are in a comp
at least
game,
15?
No, there's only 5, but it's just like, you know.
Oh no, I think a little bit higher.
It's more fun.
Oh yeah,
it's more fun to say that, you know. But and Fuel's just gonna be taking another objective on the map. At this point, Albany really has no point where they can even find an angle to get back into this game. As they also, the scaling on Fuel is still commendable. You know, you have that Smolder to match. You Sejuani scales really well. Renekton scales really well, despite not being what you would immediately expect as a scaling character. I'm going to instantly place this Herald, try to take this tier 2 top turret. Ollie's going to go for the charge, as when you charge, you spawn more Void Grubs. You see all those little tiny mite guys.
Yep.
You spawn much more, depending on how many grubs you have when you charge, but going to be charging in onto HDK. HDK is extremely low, going to fall. This isn't really the fight Fuel wants, but the Ziggs ult not going to be able to match the combo of the Jarvan ult, the Cataclysm there, who's coming in, but this is a really good fight for Albany. This is kind of what you're looking for from this position, and I mean, it's just a little bit of an overextension by HDK. You know, they're playing for that turret. Ollie needs to be playing for that turret, but they're not able to kill it right away, and because of that, the damage of Albany is able to climb up. HK goes in for that heal with the Cultimate, with that ultimate, with the Max Fury, but it's just not quite enough to be able to bring them over the edge. And I mean, there is still an angle for Albany. You have a 4-1 Syndra. You have a 2-item Syndra at this point. She is extremely strong. Your Ziggs isn't... he's behind on the scale of how far ahead the Misfortune is, but on scale of the game, he's not too far behind. But I mean, the rest of your comp, you're really struggling there. You know, you're kind of scraping for straws for the rest of the team. But as you see, it's a Chemtech map. We're going to be seeing Chemtech, Drake, like the third, just going to be going over to Fuel completely free, and that's going to be one step closer to the Chemtech Soul for Fuel. But maybe a little bit of trading on mid. Zan just trolling, honestly. Walking up into the face of 5 of Albany, not really sure. And now that's actually going to be the Drake going over to Albany as Zan decides to getting picked off a little too early, and that's your main damage threat. And as there's now 5 members of Albany, they're going to be able to take this Drake and get themselves back in the game, you know, close the gold lead just a little bit right now. We're only about to 8K now instead of 10K. It's still hard, but with those bounties, especially on these objectives, it's going to be helpful. But teams are going to be focusing on this Otacon that just spawned about a minute ago.
And it's the Ruinous one this time.
I think it probably is. Yeah, there's a lot of kills in this game, especially early game. But yeah, we're going to be seeing Ruinous Otacon here. So a bit more snowball heavy, less, not as like clear-cut win, but
Mom for the win.
Great pick by Fuel. You see Ollie and Boo looking immediately to find the Syndra, and as soon as Syndra falls, that is all of Albany's gold, all of their damage. Marshall's going to be one-shotting the Ziggs. This is a support character? What am I looking at? He just solo killed the Ziggs. Completely unplayable for Ziggs there. And that's all on the back of Ollie getting a great charge, great ultimate on to the Syndra, and that's going to be full attention over to this Otacon. It should just be falling. There's no way Albany can contest. They only have 2 members alive, and it's their Galio and their Jarvan, their 2 weakest members.
Yeah, and here we go with the battle for the Ruinous Otacon. Free game for Fuel right here as the health just gets shredded like a hot knife through butter. And Albany has just respawned and are going after HTK. HTK has completely baited them, which now gives Fuel a really strong opportunity to go for either a mid lane or a top lane flank.
Yeah, and as we know, Ruinous Otacon is going to be doing these, going to be increasing the effects of the monster buffs coming up later, and also spawning a bunch of these Blood Roses, which gives EXP and flat adaptive, so either AD or AP, depending on your highest stat. So, but Ollie, I mean, it's kind of just been the story of this game where Ollie, I think, has gotten every single one of the red buffs of Albany, but he might be actually a little bit overextended here, though he is extremely tanky, able to Q out the TP from HDK coming in, though he might not actually want to be there. Never mind, with the Dominus and all of Fuel here to capitalize. This is kind of the fight you want as Albany, but with the gold lead that Fuel has, only one is going to be able to fall from the Syndra's damage because she did use that unleashed power onto the Smolder, but a 1 for 3 is not what you're looking for as Albany. Fuel's going to be keeping this lead up, keeping these waves pushed, going to be sieging these inhib turrets of Albany, and just going to be continuously stacking their gold lead. I mean, HJK, great TP in, you know, Albany thinking they have a bit of an angle onto HJK, onto Ollie, but both able to live, able to turn that fight with a great response from Boo, from Zan, from Marshall, all of Fuel on the same page here. So, looking like a complete cohesive machine, a well-oiled machine even.
Oh, definitely. The war machine that is Fuel Esports right now is on the most brutal advance. Albany is holding on by threads at this point. They need to get a Hail Mary play and probably chase down that spider. But HTK going in for the stun just to follow through. But we might see a flank here by the Galio, but it does get stunned. Marshall is just being chased and holding on by the skin of their teeth, and boom.
Yeah, Marshall's going to fall, but a lot of things used from the side of Albany there, and a lot of time as well. It's going to give them, it's going to give Fuel full advantage on the other side of the map, able to set up for maybe this Baron that's going to be spawning right now. That is, if Fuel gets the Baron, I expect the game just to end immediately after that. We won't be seeing a third Drake. Okay, Zan just pressed ultimate for fun because I think if I'm not mistaken, Ollie just stole something from him. Though, he may have not, and Zen might just have an issue.
Or just a misclick.
He may
It
have
happens all the
fat-fingered.
time.
Yeah, he may have fat-fingered, but
It happens.
I choose to believe that was malicious intent.
Oh, probably. Like, Zan on MF, there's probably some malicious intent there. But already we might see another small skirmish in the mid lane to prepare for Baron. Or Fuel might try and blitz Baron right now as we have 4 members all going. Nope, now all 5 are here. We might see a fight going into the jungle with Ollie in the lead.
As a 4-item Sejuani, you're not going to be able to kill this as the set of Albany. And as
bomb
soon as
inbound.
your Jarvan instantly falls, that's your full combo. But you do see Syndra able to get that damage, but a great stopwatch by Marshall, able to go golden at the last minute, though the Ziggs damage is going to be able to pick him off. But, I mean, Fuel is just going to keep slowly walking in the melee characters of Fuel. This Ollie and HDK, while Boo and Zan are on their side, though Zan just keeps getting hit by these taunts randomly. And this fight actually might be a little bit doomed for Fuel. Sure, Boo is strong here, but
Ouch.
Aatrox thrives in these types of fights. And again, I mean, just a little bit of overextension by Fuel. You see Zan just kind of forgetting that he's an AD carry, walking in like he is as tanky as Ollie this game, and just keeps getting hit by these stuns, by these taunts, by this random Ziggs poke, by this Jarvan EQ. Everything in the
brutal.
game is always targeted towards him, but
This
he's also
is why.
he's not positioning correctly to be able to stop them from being able to do this. And this will be third Drake going at Albany. There's no situation where in this position of the game, Fuel should be giving over as many objectives as they had to be given when there's such a large gold lead. I mean, Albany has had bounties on their side since minute 15. It has been about 12 minutes or so of full bounties, and Fuel has somehow lost 3 objectives.
I think, again, it's